Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I was just doing a little bit of loading for a test I'm going to run, and then remembered, hey, I've got a YouTube channel and I haven't made a video in a while. I should probably make a video on this. So, what we're doing today is going back to our 308 load with 168 grain Hornady boat tail hollow point match bullets and IMR 4064. Yes, I've already done a video on this before, but several of you have commented on the video and said, hey, your velocities were pretty low, you stopped even before that last charge you had loaded for that last test, and probably shouldn't have. Could have kept going quite a bit further. So after some research that I did, I discovered that yes, I probably can go quite a bit higher than I did before. I stopped at, let me flip through my notes here and double check this. I stopped at 41.8 grains, and I had a 42.2 grain charge loaded, but I didn't shoot it because I was already in the velocity window that I was looking for. Well, we can probably get a little higher on that velocity today, so that's what we're going to try doing. We're going to start at the 42.2 grain load that I didn't shoot and go up to 43.8, possibly, unless we hit pressure signs along the way. This is Starline brass, and it has been fired once, and I just got done sizing it. The only other component thing we're changing is we're going to the Federal Large Rifle Match Primers, the GM210M. I'll try to dump out 25 here without spilling any. Oh, it's going to be difficult. Well, let's just go ahead and dump out 30, and then we can put some back. And I'm using my green Hornady primer tray. Okay, I'm going to flip that one by hand. For RCBS shell holders. Alright, I'm ready to prime. Let's see how these feel going into the primer pockets. Oh, they feel really good. Nice. Yeah, that one stopped at just the right point. Let's try another. Definitely tight, but that's okay. I did not clean out these primer pockets. Alright, I'll get the rest of these primed up, and probably don't need to show you powder measuring or bullet seating because I'm pretty sure we did that in the last video with these, and nothing is going to change. The overall length is going to stay at 2.8 inches even, and I don't think we'll have any compressed charges, so I will finish loading these up. And if nothing super interesting happens that I feel like I should show you, I'll see you guys out on the range. Alright, we are out here on the range, and as usual, I'm going to start with our 168 grain Sierra Gold Medal match as a starting point and a comparison, and these are also going to be some sighter shots. I more want to get a velocity comparison than anything today because I was concerned the last time about the velocity reading that we were getting from the chronograph maybe not being that accurate at around 2620. After doing a little more research, that seems kind of slow. Let me see what it says on the box here. All right, we're actually saying 2650 for a muzzle velocity, so that may be right, what we were getting before, but I just want to double check today. And like I said, I am going to use that as some sighter shots. Our scope is just the Bushnell 12 power scope. Nothing fancy on here today. I need to get a different scope for this. But anyway, it is sighted in currently for the 168 grain Spear Gold Dot loads that we took hog hunting. In fact, about the last time this gun was shot was in Texas. So, let me get loaded up here. And if it's too far off, I'll readjust and shoot a full 5-shot group in one spot. But if it's not too far off, we will shoot with what we got. All right, target is at 100 yards. I'm going to be shooting at the lower right-hand target, and we'll just see where we end up to start out with. All right, I believe we're close enough to where we want to be to go ahead and shoot a group right there, and then we'll adjust. All right, looks like we got a decent group down there, although it is hard to tell through the 12 power scope. I'm going to go check my chronograph numbers, get them written down, and then we will make a, I guess I'm just going to come down a half MOA and right a half MOA, and we'll see where that gets us. Of course, these are Spear 168 grain, Sierra Match Kings, and we're shooting Hornady bullets here, so it's not going to be quite the same, but this should have a similar point of impact. So I'm just going to start out with a half MOA down and a half right, and we'll start shooting our groups. All right, 42.2 grains of IMR 4064. Our baseline for today, the average velocity was reading 2555, which really does seem a little low. We should be about 70 feet per second higher than that. But an extreme spread of 25 and a standard deviation of 12. It is about 60-ish, 65 degrees right now. I don't remember if that's cooler or not than when I shot these groups before. Actually, probably is. Probably is 10 to 15 degrees cooler. Shouldn't have that big of an impact, though, I wouldn't think. I just don't think my chronograph is superbly accurate. But that's okay. It seems to be giving sort of consistent results. And it is about 10:45 a.m. right now, so we should have pretty consistent light across the sky while we're shooting these groups. So I'm hoping that the chronograph does good enough to tell us what we want to know for now. All right, 42.2 grains. I bet we beat that velocity on this first string because remember we matched it with our previous load workup. I am going to be watching closely for pressure this whole time, though I really doubt we'll see any besides maybe just a little flattening of the primers. These gold medal match primers did seem to be just a little bit softer, just in the way they felt when I was hand priming. So I'm guessing we'll get a little bit of flattening, but that's not going to be abnormal for this. I'll stop gabbing and shoot. From what I can see of the chronograph from this far away, it looks like we're back at our 2620 spot with this 42.2 grain load, which is just fine. I'm hoping we get to a node here that's pretty easy to see. Getting a weird bolt close, and I know, in fact, let me take a look at it here. probably just a little bit dirty. No, not touching the bullet at all with the rifling, and it shouldn't, because I think we're a ways off the lands. All right, not terrible, not spectacular either. I'll give the barrel a second to cool down. It is warm to the touch on the outside now. It's had 10 shots through it. I'm definitely going to have to get a target camera with a longer battery life, or a GoPro or something. Hopefully you caught that group. I'm not sure at what point it died, but either way, you can see it up there now. Let's see, we are at 42.6 grains. I completely forgot when I was looking at that first charge weight of 42.2 grains that we have switched brass and we've switched primers. So that could totally account for the velocity difference. Those last two shots on that 42.6 grain load jumped up 20 feet per second in the 2640 range. Guessing that's why that group wasn't all that great. All right, doesn't look like a half bad little group down there. Brass is still looking great. Groups are good. Everything's good. We're gonna do another cooling session and then we'll shoot these last two groups. All right, we are on to 43.4 grains. The standard deviation on that last group was 6 feet per second. So that's good. Our group was good. In fact, our group was really good. And we're sitting at about 2660 on the velocity. Brass is still perfect as far as I can tell. I'm gonna go out in the sun and look at it a little closer. I have just the tiniest bit of a shiny spot where the ejector would be, and I'm not worried about it at all. Yep, just a little bit of a shiny spot, no heavy bolt lift. Well, I had to go and mess up that last shot, unless that first one is up on the square. Never mind. We'll give the barrel 5 minutes or so, and then we will attempt this last row. I'm not sure if I will get through it or not, or if I'll stop after the first shot, but we'll see. All right, so I'm gonna leave this here for somebody else to find. Before you freak out, this is not mine. I just found it on the range, but I hope this guy was okay. This appears to be either a 308 or a 30-06 casing, and it doesn't look like it was cut. It looks like somebody had a case head separation. Trying to look for any other damage on here that would corroborate that. But anyway, scary stuff. This was sitting on a table on the range here. I'm gonna put it back for somebody else to find it and get a chuckle or a warning or whatever else out of it. All right, last group, 43.8 grains. Oh yeah, no worse than that last group. We are just fine. Let's go ahead and shoot through. All right, so I didn't really talk about this much at the range when we were done, because right as I was shooting this last group, I had some other people come up and start unloading their vans to get ready for the range. So as soon as I finished shooting this group, I packed everything up and headed in, which is okay because I'd finished the test anyway. Because I was distracted, I think I could have shot this last group just a little bit better. Still 1.3 inches at the last. Let's go through here, and I will talk about chronograph data as we go too. We had, the first group we shot was the gold medal match at 0.98 inches, which is awesome. Then we started out about the same, just a couple hundredths of an inch bigger, on our first group of 42.2 grains at 1.01 inches, or pretty dang close to an inch. That first group, I had a velocity of 2614 and a standard deviation of just 9. So that's pretty good, and that kind of confirms what I was remembering about that 2620-ish feet per second area being pretty decent for accuracy. Then jumping over here to this next group, we've got 3 shots right there in that little smudge, and then 2 outside of it. These 4 shots right here are 0.87 inches, and the entire group being another 1.3. Now, when we get to this third group is when we see something really good. We've got 0.7 inches for that group, and our velocity numbers also kind of show that that's a pretty good charge weight for us. That's 43 grains, velocity of 2662, extreme spread of only 16 feet per second with a standard deviation of 6. That, lining up with the group, makes me think this is probably my new load with the Starline brass and the Federal primer. Now jumping down here, we had 1.6 inch group, again with 4 of those going into a pretty decent 0.9 inch. And then that last 1.37 inch group where I was kind of distracted. Now, the extreme spread and standard deviation numbers were kind of crappy for the 43.4 grain load, and then they got quite a bit better on the 43.8 grain load, but it's going back down again. Kind of makes me think maybe 44.2 grains, maybe another accuracy and velocity node. So that's something we can't tell without actually shooting it, and that's something I may do in the future. Anyway, guys, that about sums it up for today. We got one good group anyway, and a couple that were a little disappointing because they were so close to being good. And generally not as good overall a showing as when I was loaded in the Federal brass. I have a test planned coming up where I shoot my best charge with the Federal brass and my best charge with the Starline brass, and compare the two to see if one variety of brass outperforms the other. Alright, that's all I have for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.